Everyone thought he was just the janitor until a senior officer walked in and saluted him. No one really noticed Mr. Hameed. He swept the same hallways every morning. He fixed the broken chairs before anyone else arrived. And when students passed by laughing or running late, he'd just step aside with a quiet smile. To them, he was just the janitor, nothing more. To the staff, he was reliable, polite, invisible. But what no one knew was he noticed everything. It was a Friday morning when the school buzzed with excitement. A guest speaker was coming, a respected senior officer from the city's police department. Banners were hung, chairs were arranged, and the gym filled with energy. Mr. Hameed stood in the corner with a mop in hand, unnoticed. A group of students walked by and joked loudly, "Yo, Mr. Broomstick, make sure the VIP doesn't slip." They laughed. When even Mock saluted him with a smirk, Mr. Hameed just nodded gently, replying, "Always happy to keep things clean." But in his eyes, there was something else, something deeper, something heavy, like he knew a version of the world no one in that hallway had ever seen. Outside, the police officers' convoy pulled up. Uniformed officers, polished shoes, straight backs. The air shifted. The students turned toward the gym doors, but then it happened before the principal could even welcome him, before a word was spoken into the mic. The senior officer stopped. He looked across the gym, directly at Mr. Hameed. His eyes widened, then in front of hundreds of students and teachers. He stood tall, raised his hand, and saluted the janitor. Gasps filled the room. Someone whispered, "What's going on?" Even the loudest students froze. Mr. Hameed didn't move, didn't smile, didn't speak. He just gave a slight nod, like this moment had been waiting quietly for years. And right then, the entire school knew. Mr. Hameed wasn't just the janitor, he was someone else entirely. The applause echoed as the school principal took the mic. "Students, staff, and honored guests, please welcome a man who has served our city with integrity and courage. Senior Officer Adil." The gym erupted in polite claps. A tall man in uniform stepped forward, chest full of medals, eyes sharp. He nodded to the crowd, took one step toward the stage, and then he froze. His gaze locked across the gym. There, near the folding chairs, stood Mr. Hameed, quiet, calm, almost hidden in the background, like always. But Officer Adil didn't walk past him. He turned, walked directly toward him. And then, in front of the entire school, without a word, he raised his right hand to his brow and saluted the janitor. The clap of hands fell silent. Students blinked, unsure what they were seeing. A teacher dropped a clipboard. Someone whispered, "Is this part of the program?" Mr. Hameed didn't flinch. He simply stood still, eyes steady, returning only a soft nod. Then the officer turned to the audience and spoke, "Before I ever wore this badge, before I ever held rank, this man was my instructor. He didn't just teach me drills, he taught me dignity. He taught me strength without shouting, power without pride. And when I nearly failed out of the academy, he stood by me, believed in me, trained me until I could stand on my own." Mouths dropped open. One student covered his face in disbelief. Officer Adil's voice cracked. "The reason I'm wearing this uniform today is because he once told me I could." The silence in the gym wasn't awkward. It was sacred, because in that moment, every student saw something they never expected. The man who mopped their floors had once shaped the very hands that now protected the city. The gym was completely silent. Students, who were laughing earlier, now sat wide-eyed, leaning forward as if they didn't want to miss a single word. Even the teachers, who usually kept order, stood frozen in place. No one expected this. No one imagined that the quiet janitor they passed every day was once a man who trained heroes. Whispers moved through the room like wind through trees. "Is this real? Why didn't we know?" Why would someone like him choose to be a janitor? The principal walked slowly to the front and gently asked, "Mr. Hameed, would you like to say something?" But Mr. Hameed simply smiled and shook his head. He didn't need a microphone. He didn't need applause. He had lived a life full of moments more powerful than any speech. Later, the truth came out. Years ago, Mr. Hameed was a top instructor at the National Police Training Center. He was known not only for his discipline, but also for his kindness. One winter, a terrible accident happened during training. A fire broke out. Cadets were trapped. While others waited for rescue teams, Mr. Hameed didn't hesitate. He ran into the smoke. He carried injured cadets out, one by one, until every single one was safe. He didn't care about danger. He cared about lives. For that, he was honored. He received medals, awards, and standing ovations. But a few years later, he quietly left it all. He didn't retire with speeches or fame. He didn't want to be remembered as a hero. He just wanted peace. He wanted silence. So he took a job as a school janitor. A quiet place, simple work, far from flashing lights or heavy uniforms. But that salute from Officer Adil? It wasn't about rank. It wasn't about power. It was about respect, the kind you don't ask for. The kind you earn by living with honor when no one's watching. And that day, the whole school finally saw. Mr. Hameed never stopped being a hero. He had simply chosen to serve in silence. Sometimes, the quietest people carry the loudest stories. Mr. Hameed never asked for recognition, but when respect found him, it stood tall and saluted. If this story touched your heart, share it, because true heroes don't wear capes, they carry mops and history.